Well, good evening everybody. We're back in Virtual Pool 4 Online. We're back for another match in the VP4 2021 8-Ball World Championship. And as we can see there, it's a one-loss side match between Mr.Bill from the States and Marcellus, who I can't remember where Marcellus is from, but he was here a minute ago. Brazil. So it's an all-America match, this race to 4, and well, I think I've occasionally seen Marcellus. Good evening to Hazard. I've occasionally seen to Marcellus, and I think if I'm writing assessing what he's like, I think if he puts his mind to it, he can certainly pop balls, and he's a danger to Bill. That's the way I see it, especially in a race to 8. So it'd be interesting to see how things go. Obviously, what we're expecting is a not quite as high a quality as what we've seen from Spectre Dawn and maybe a couple of the other matches. That's where Bill needs to tighten up if he's going to progress further in the tournament. Good evening to Cobra. Quick look on the tournament page. This is the match tonight. Thank God there's only one, because I want to watch the rest of the snooker before I go to bed. But tomorrow night we've got another one-loss side match between Hazard and Spectre Dawn. So Hazard's going to have to pull his socks up there, because Spectre Dawn's taking everybody out in front of him. And he'll do well to cause problems for Spectre Dawn. Got to try and keep it tight, play sensible. But if you leave an open table, Spectre Dawn's just running him at the moment. He's been really good. And then the big one is next week at 7 PM next Saturday between Semi-Pro and Bedhead. That's one to look forward to. Obviously things begin to quiet down now as the tournament goes on deeper. There's going to be fewer and fewer matches, so it stands to reason that there's only a couple have been set. So Cobra calls it 8-5 to Bill. It could well be the case, but it could also be 8-5 the other way around, I think. You know, you just don't know. Well, look at yourselves. What is he, 5-4 behind or 5-3 behind? I think it's 5-3. Well, he's not out of it. You know, he's still in with a good shout. And with any luck, this match won't run too far into the start of the evening session of the snooker, and I can go and settle down and watch a bit of it. So I've got a poll on my YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube to my channel and you click on community, there's a little poll about the commentary, and I noticed that there's even though there's only like 5 people responded, 60% of them have said they wouldn't mind joining the commentary box. Well, they're going to have to step up and man up and name themselves if they would like to take part. Good evening, good afternoon to Dwight. So what time have we got here? We're still about a minute and a half away. Well, we've seen the forecast. The forecast, we've had some places in Scotland, in southeast Scotland, and some in the north of England have still got no power since last week, a week ago on Friday, when that big storm blew in. And we've got another one. It's been named by the Irish Met Office, and it's going to hit us on Tuesday, and the forecast then is windy, not as bad as what it was, but rain and snow depending where you are, and things can change between now and then, so brace yourselves for that, because I've got to drive in it on Tuesday morning if it does. Well, this room has got to be going up. Yeah, I mean, that boy Zhao, I mean, I think he's 24 years old. These two players have been around for a while. They just haven't been consistent enough to break through. The thing about Luca Brissell, I was watching videos of him on YouTube when he was a kid, making 147 breaks. But he's a bit like Judd Trump. He just hasn't came to the final conclusion that he has to have a safety game. He can't just go trying to pot everything all the time. So I reckon it could be an interesting final session in that match. Definitely could. But Marcellus isn't out of it. Right, the room is up. Let us get ourselves in there. Get in there quick. So Bill's keen to get things underway. He's in already. We're now back streaming on YouTube, Twitch and Facebook. Although I've a mind to do the, well, provided I get to do the final, I've a mind to do the final just on YouTube on its own. So be fair warned, anybody that's watching. Right, here we go for the lag. Haven't a clue who's who again, but I'm guessing that Marcellus is at the bottom of the table. And nothing's happening. Ah, there we go. Well, that's a good lag if that's Bill at the top. I don't think he could nail it any better than that. And Bill has won the lag. So Bill breaks off, and I never noticed where Bill was breaking, whether he was going for the second ball there. I was too busy reading Cobra. YouTube is no good for chat. It's not any different, it's just the fact that there's a little longer delay before it gets to you. And there's a little longer delay before it gets to us when it comes on screen. So Bill's broke and he's got a ball. And he's choosing the solids, and he's got the breakout immediately for the problem ball. And he's finished nice on the 5, well, slightly the wrong side of the 5, but it won't cause a major issue. But the major issue is those two balls in the top left. The top left, the 1 and the 2 ball, Bill has to get one of them and has to try and squirt over behind that 3 ball on the right side to take it down the table towards us in this pocket, because it's going nowhere else. The 8 ball's blocking it, and that's the immediate thing he has to deal with. And he hasn't really got into that cue ball there. That was a 2-in-1 shot, because if you got into it a bit more, you'd have a better angle in the 3, and if he didn't get really good on it, he could still fall back in the 2, but he's now trying to get the 3 in the hole and stay in the 2, and he's done for. And it was all to do with the angle that he had that's got him out of line. Tell a lie, I forgot, my mistake again, I forgot about the 7 ball. I take it all back. 7 ball hiding there in front of my nose. Now he might be a wee bit straight. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's got enough room. Whether does he want to just try and drop it here? Yes, he does. So in the end, it's I hope he's had a good look at this just to be sure. That's a good start for Bill, winning the lag, breaking off, getting a ball and running out, which is the main priority. Get yourself off to a good start. But I think Marcellus has come up dry. And this is where Bill really needs to work hard. Again, the table is not particularly great. You've got 3 stripes down the bottom here though, and he's on a stripe up top. But it's a bit busy down the bottom of the table, and Bill would have to pick his way well through these, but I think he's decided it's going to be the stripes. But of course, having done that, the main problem straight away is he's left the 2 stripes up the table, and he could have taken the 2 of them, but the problem would have been, well, if he'd taken the one in the right first up top and then the one in the left, he could have gone to the 11 down here from the left side. But he's going to have to work up and down though. And the other issue is the 8 ball, which let's just say it's not good into that side. It's too tight past the 7 and it doesn't go past the 3, so it goes into the side and it's fairly tight up top. So well, why not play the 11 and just try and get lucky and get into the gap and get on that 14? Well, maybe he tried that, but he hasn't got there, so that's now going to be the big stumbling block for him. Let's have a quick look at this 14. Well, it goes no problem past the 3, but that's the biggest concern in Bill managing to take this out. So now he needs to get an accurate shot here. He's got to run through into the gap between the 2 and the 4, I think it is, up table, or is it the 5? I haven't a clue. It might be the 5. And this is the line he has to get into. Somewhere in that line. Well, he's going the other way. And the problem with this is the angle. This is not what you want. But I reckon he's just got to nurse this in and finish bottom end of that 8 ball. And he's not got there. But the good thing, of course, is he's blocked the pocket for the 3. So let's see what Marcellus is made of. We'll get a good judge of where he's at. Now, ideally, Marcellus would like to get dead straight on that 3 ball if he could, to push it onto that blocking ball and hopefully follow it in as well if he could. And that would then aid him in his run out. Now, can he pot that 6 and run into the 7? He's playing bottom on it. He's absolutely nowhere near it. Because I think I would have played that plain ball and just tried to run into the 7 and then hold as straight as I could on that 3 there. But Marcellus, I don't know what line he was looking at, but he was absolutely no near the actual pot. So that's not a good omen on the level of play he's going to be making. Good afternoon and good evening to Slim. So in the end it's an easy out for Bill. So Marcellus didn't really get his feet in the ground at all. Yeah, you oh, if you are subscribed, well, if you just subscribe on YouTube, I think it takes 20 minutes before you're allowed to chat on the live stream, something like that. Well, it certainly will be a quick match. Good evening to Hairpig, because Marcellus can't be setting up with shots like that. I mean, that does not give you great confidence on his overall ability to get something done here, but maybe he's a bit nervy. I'm sure he's aware that there's a few people watching this. So Marcellus at the table, and Bill's break was dry. Marcellus on the stripes. Now, where's he going to go wrong here? Well, he's going to have to start running the cue ball straight away here. But he has to be gentle with this. Just drop the 9 in and try and keep the cue ball in play rather than running into balls. I mean, the 11 ball does need to be moved, but he maybe want to keep that there as a safety net for the time being. Well, I thought I'd seen him in the past and he wasn't too bad, but as I say, maybe he blows too much hot and cold. And now he's going for a gentle cut in the 10, and he was going to have no other shot other than trying to cut that 14, I think it was. No, it's a 15. But the sensible thing was not to touch that 11 and 1 ball for the time being, just to bide his time. He's blocked the pocket, for the 8 ball, so he's not in a great position, but he's in a defensive position at the moment. And well, Bill has taken the option to break out his problem ball, and of course doing that's brought the 11 sort of into the open, and once that 1 ball disappears, Bill might be wise to leave the 1 ball there as well. You know, I think although he's on it, he's now fully committed, and now there's a problem. So I don't know whether that's going to be the wisest of moves, because he's got to find a pot that gets him onto this 2 ball, so he can do that off the 5. Whether he wants to, again, it's all to do with the angle he leaves himself. If he pots this 5 and gets himself fairly straight in the 4, he's going to have to then take the 3 and then deal with the 6. So he's got to keep his wits about him. And well, he's going all out there because he's got rid of Marcellus's ball, blocked a pocket for the 8, and I don't know whether that 12 goes past the 3. It doesn't. So now things have changed slightly. And I don't know whether Marcellus can try and just squeeze it in behind. Well, it does go. It might have been better if it had stayed over the pocket. Well, this is tough. And again, tough because he has to hit it with enough pace to make the pot, but the cue ball's then running. So it'd be fair to say, unless he runs into this 8 ball, but he'd have to put a bit of spin in the cue ball to do that. There's no way he's holding for the 11. Yeah, he was trying to keep as much pace off as he could to leave him some sort of bedhead cut, but he's now missed the pot, and now Bill, let's be honest, should be 3-0 up in a minute or 2. No reason why he shouldn't, because everything is on, there's no obstructions. He's just got to simply put them in the hole and get on to the next one. Now, does he want to be just coming back for this 5 on the side, or 4, whatever ball it is again? No, it's a 5. Seems... he's going the other way. I think it's 6.5 a dozen anyway, as long as he gets in the open. I mean, there's a huge area to see this 2 ball. It might not be a great idea to be trying to get inside that 8 ball, because that's very narrow. And now he wants to make sure that he's well away from the side pocket here when he draws back, so he can actually create an angle here off this 2, but well, he's making it really safe. He's going to take the 8 long, which is the sensible thing to do rather than running the cue ball, and he should be 3-0. Well, Marcellus gets a ball in the break, but there wasn't an awful lot of movement with the pack. They have opened, and there is a gap between them all. Now, what's the best set here? 7 over the corner. Awkward ball would be the 3. And then if you look at the stripes, you've got to pick your way through them as well, so I don't think it really matters what ones you pick. There's issues with getting good position on certain balls, but Marcellus has made the choice. Now he could Well, I was going to say, he could do what he's just done there, but with a lot less pace. To maybe try and get on one of those that ball into the side pocket in the left, but he's got the 9 up the rail, and he'd be awkward over the 8 ball for that. So now there's 2 problems here now. Does he think he can just squeeze that 14? I think he can. At least get it right in behind the 7. Yeah, he's trying to kick it off the rail. Now he's in trouble. Now what does he do? Does he call the bank? He's not got much else of an option available, I don't think. And there's nowhere he can hide the cue ball, really. I mean, what's he doing? Yep, he's called the side, so big shot this for Marcellus, because the way these balls are lying, it could be 4-zip in a minute. He just missed it, and worse again, he's scratched, and what's he done as well? He's kicked the 8 ball out the way. So everything that could go wrong with that shot has just happened. And Bill, well, it might be over 3 weeks away, but Christmas has come early for Bill here. Of course, the biggest mistake with that shot that Marcellus played was having to run the cue ball, and when the cue ball's running loose, sooner or later it finds a pocket if you keep doing it often enough. So Bill on the solids, 1 ball. The angle he's got would bring him down for the 7 by the look of it. Well, I think if he just dinks the 1 ball in, he'd be on it. He's now running into a spot, and well, again, he could still take that 1 ball and drop onto the 7. You've just got to be confident enough to play the little stud. I mean, it's a straightforward enough shot, but how does he deal with the 2? That's the other thing. Well, he's going to take the 2 first. And now it all hinges on getting nice on this 5 to get onto that 7, and that's a disaster, Bill. That's a huge fail. You should not be missing balls like that into the side. And Marcellus, likewise for you, you've got to put this away, because that's an almighty error by Bill. And nothing to do but roll this pink 12 in and just drop through for that 8 in the left side. Or what's that up the table? Is that the 1? Before I forget another ball. No, it's a 9, so the worry here is how he leaves himself in the 9. Well, it's just one of these little stun draws to more or less kill the cue ball. You don't want to be overzealous and trying to do too much with the cue ball. You're better at least leaving a sight on this 8 ball. So just a little punchy stunt, and that's going to have to do, but it's better than risking too much. And he needs to be careful with the cue ball as well here, because that could easily run into the 7 and scratch. Well, he's got it, and that'll be a relief for Marcellus, but there is no way on this earth that Marcellus should have been back at the table. That's a huge fail by Bill, and it might come back to haunt him. And the balls don't forgive you sometimes. It might have started because Bill's come up dry, and look at this table. Well, I think most people would fancy their chances on this setup. Balls are sitting all over the shop. Take your pick. 8 ball in the middle of the table, more or less. 4 solids. sorry, 4 stripes, 2 solids up table. So straight away, now that Marcellus has chosen the solids, he's got not an awful lot of options in how he gets up the table to deal with those 2 balls, but he needs to start thinking about it extremely quickly, because he's got no cut in the 1, and he's not sitting in a ball that's good to get him up there right now. Now he is now on this 2 ball, and he needs to run forward and hope he doesn't just hook himself behind the 10. He needs to have enough on it. If he runs too far, he may well still have had the cut in the 3. Well, now what do you do with this? Do you just try and nurse it in with a bit of check? Or do you try and do something crazy? Well, he's putting a wee bit of left on it. Well, his intention wasn't to hold for it. So now he's let the cue ball run loose. And again now, he's not really got a shot. I mean, he's far too close to the 6 to really be doing anything with it. And now he's just trying to, if he just drops onto the 3, he's still going to leave a pot up table. And the only lifeline he has is that 5 ball. And Bill's got 2 or 3 good opportunities to take that 5 ball out and lock the pocket. Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, but is he keen enough to be playing something delicate like that? Because he's going off the other side of the 3. I mean, you've just got to play it dead weight and try and use that 9 ball. Well, he called the safety. He's knocked his own 5 ball in, which is probably, again, a fatal move. I mean, I don't know why he didn't just try and dink that 3 in the right side of it. Maybe with a wee bit of left spin just to try and kill the cue ball and drop it in behind the 9. And having done that and then played the safety and run in his 5 ball, he's just opened the table wide open. But Bill, after his disaster in that previous rack, I've not got an awful lot of confidence in him finding a way out. Good evening and afternoon to Larry. Well, I know what I'd be doing. I'd be taking that 12 ball and making sure I had a shot in the 11 next. Now, again, the angle that he's got, he has to be, again, careful with what he's trying to do with the cue ball. He's not confident enough to be playing the 11, so he's going the long way around to do this. And that is not great. It is not ideal the way he's sitting here. I mean, this is not comfortable. And he's running the cue ball up and down here. Well, now he can take the 11. I mean, there's nothing wrong with leaving the cue ball where he is if he pots the 11 and then potting that ball up table and running through for the 8 in the side. You see, now he's having to be good here with this shot, and he's got an angle that's taking this cue ball away. He should have took the other ball first to make it simpler to get nice in the 8. Well, I suppose that's a bit of luck running into the 6 ball, which holds his line. And Bill is going to regain his 3-rack lead. But Marcellus, again, you've got to be able to see certain safety shots. I mean, it was staring him in the face, and he wasn't confident enough to execute it, clearly, and it all backfired on him when he did call the safety. Thin cut the 3, comes down the left side and knocks his only blocking ball that could have saved him in that rack there. Even though Bill had 3 chances to get rid of it. And Marcellus just opened the door for him. So this time, Marcellus breaks off in rack number 6. Ball in the break. And what's he looking at? The stripes. Looks like the... pardon me, the 14 ball. And that's no good. But I think he's got lucky. He can just see the 10. Well, he can, maybe not as bad as it did look. He's got the little dink in the 12 into the side. Well, where would you go now? Would you pot that 11 up the table and come out for the 9? Because the 10 doesn't go, but if you get a decent angle in the 9, you can come across this side with the danger of hooking yourself. But he can take the 10 right now, which is probably the best idea, because he might never get back there. Now he's running into balls. You know, and all the way through this tournament, the best players are not running into balls unless they're in full control, and they're doing it for a reason. And that's the difference between what we've just seen there and what these the guys that are still running deep into this tournament are doing. It's a whole different setup. When you start running into balls with no particular idea of where things are going and how it's going to end up, you know, you're doomed to failure at some point. Sooner or later it'll happen. 8 ball goes past the 2, so, and there, no sooner have I said it, Marcellus is again not setting himself up with enough time and using that shot clock to make sure he's really set right before he executes a shot. So Bill, with an open invitation to stretch his lead, it's going to end up comfortable here for Bill, by the way it looks. It's the amount of unforced errors that Bill has to keep out of the game to keep his lead and not encourage Marcellus to get back in this. But even at this stage, we've not seen a lot to sort of let you think that Marcellus is going to do any great damage here at the moment. Well, again, as long as you've got an angle on that 7 ball up the table, it brings the cue ball over to the left as we look, and that's good enough to get on the 8. You just don't want to do something that starts running the cue ball too far and running in behind that, whatever ball it is in the left there. Is it the 15? I think it might be. Or it could be the 14, but I can't be bothered really checking. And that saves that issue ever arising. So Bill stretching away now. The error from Marcellus. And Bill just tidied up to open the gap even further. And in a race to 8, it's already a mountain for Marcellus. Bill would have to really fall apart now to lose the match. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think even in his worst day, he would still be winning enough racks to take this match out now at this level. So ball in the break for Bill, couple of balls I think. Well, he could cut the 2, and if he drops over the right side and back into the table, he can get rid of that 7. If he's taking the solids, and he's just overcooked that slightly. You wanted to have a slightly easier line in this 7 ball, because that's what he played for. He didn't play for anything up the table, he played for the 7. And now he's just got to be confident enough and brave enough to run through, push this through and get the cut on, and let the cue ball run while he's going up the table. If it squirts past it, I never even thought to look. And again, not a problem by taking the 3 ball as the last ball. 8 ball up the table's fine. So it's just a matter of getting there. I'll just stun off the rail. Keep a good line on the 3 so that you're more or less just killing it into the pocket. Now you can't chicken out in this shot. You can't start letting this cue ball run forward too much. You don't want to be cutting things back. That'll do it. So really Bill's under no great pressure now. He's seen what Marcellus has been able to do, which is, to be honest with you, not a great deal. The break was good. A lot of movement, but nothing towards a hole. Now, what does this set you thinking about? I mean, stripes, 14 ball on the right side here, it's wide open. You've got a stripe in the top rail which looks fairly tight, and you've got the 2 stripes just parallel with Bill's cue ball. So it is going to be the stripes. And now he's run too far through for, again, a comfortable shot in the 11. So he's got to be thinking that it could be the 14 ball as his second last ball, and then maybe trying to either pot the 14 and run this way for the 11, either into the side or up table. But if he plays it into the side, he's going to have to push the cue ball through to get out to take the 8 as his last ball. So he looks as if that's the way he's going to go. He's going to pot that. Well, he's looking at the 11. I don't know why he is, but I think he's just getting his bearings. But he's on that last ball up the table, and then he stuns it in, gets right across the right side for the 14 and comes round behind the 11, or below the 11, but he's taking the 11 now. And you see, this just means he's got more work to do, because he's ended up dead straight in the 14. Now he should still be taking. I still prefer that ball up the table first and come back across. But the problem there is you've got to play a good shot to get into this gap on the right side. You've just got to control your pace. And he's overcut it. Well, I still think he went about that the wrong way. And in the end, it's done him again. It's still maybe better to, really take your time so that you do have that image in your head and know exactly where you want to go, because then you don't start getting doubts. But if you don't get into that spot often enough, you're then ending up having to dig yourself out of holes to keep yourself at the table. But I don't think Bill will be really worrying too much. I think he could have done that better. See, there's Marcellus, running into the 8 ball. He could have played that shot there and not run into the 8 ball. That's just relying on getting lucky rolls. And when you're trailing 6-1, I think you're hoping for an awful lot by running through into balls. And you don't really need to. He's done 4 already, unless he can pot this 2 and drop in behind the 4. And now he's drawn into another ball, and now he's got no real shape. So it's a struggle for Marcellus, because he's committing the cardinal sins of 8 ball here. So he is Good afternoon to Rob. By the way, I can unban Stub from the YouTube channel. I was having a look at the settings the other night there. I haven't done it though. Well, Marcellus back at the table, and he's still got the same problem. But I don't think he'd have been left any better on this 4-ball. It's a tight cut. Well, Marcellus's problem now is that he has to get really good on this 8-ball if he's leaving the 3-ball as the last ball. So he has to get right up the table or down the table towards us off this 2. And I mean right down, so he doesn't have to manoeuvre the cue ball too far. And I'm afraid that ain't it, because now he's trying to skim this in. The cue ball's running all over the shop, and he's hoping to get lucky that there's a shot. That again, it's just doomed to failure the way he's going about this. Well, again, he's got lucky because he's run into the 14 and it's held him in a reasonably good line in the 8. You know, that's just living in hope every time you're playing shots like that. But it's got him 1 rack back. But I think it's just Bill's just treading water here. So rack number 9, and I didn't hear anything go. Looks like another one has gone dry, and it's about 20 odd minutes. It'll be more than that. It might be the best part of half an hour before the final session of the snooker's about to start, so I won't be long in heading out the door as soon as this is finished. Oh, what about that Barry Hawkins last night? I don't think I've seen him as bad. He had absolutely no confidence whatsoever. Absolutely shocking. And I think, to be honest with you, I don't think from what I've heard he's played that good in the whole tournament. I think he's probably the one person that's the most surprised he got that far. But there was no way he was winning anything last night. He was terrible. Not long to the Moscone Cup now, guys. Thing is I can stream it on Discord if anybody's struggling to get a stream of it or anything like that. You only have to let me know. So anyway, Marcellus at the table on the stripes, and there's problem balls there. Now this 15, he can certainly run the cue ball and try and, I don't know, maybe he can't, maybe he's got too much angle. But he might be able to try and nudge her. Yeah, he's going to scratch again. Again, he's just stopped here and reassessed the situation, because the angle he had was not great to do that. Once I had a look at it, I wasn't that convinced. And straight away, Bill having a good study after the scratch. Try and get this blueprint in his mind of what he's doing here. So the problem ball, well, one of them of course is the 3-ball. It has to go up table, but the other major problem is the 5-ball. Now he's the wrong side of the 7. Now, can he get a decent line? I don't know whether that's it either, to try and get some sort of little nudge towards that 10 ball and the 5. Well, again, it's a problem. You're running out of options to get there, Bill. Well, you trying to tell me, Dwight, that you can't go online and find a stream of the Moscone Cup? You ain't trying, mate. There'll be loads of them. I can guarantee you that. I don't think there's been a Moscone Cup in recent years where I haven't found a good stream. Don't worry, you'll be able to watch it. And you can't watch snooker in Canada. I can guarantee you can watch the snooker in Canada as well. So, Marcellus at the table, and Bill has his safety net there. And Marcellus running out of options. Now, the little dinky stunt and potting that ball into the corner and trying to drop down behind the 10, to me, is about the only shot. Oh, that's Bill at the table now. See, I'm too busy reading the chat and forgetting who's at the table. Sport Lemon and others with those. Aye. Yeah, well, I've still got sites that you'll get pop-ups. You just need to make sure you've got Adblock Plus in and not click anything where you're accepting anything. But I can get you links for streams. Don't you worry. If you're looking for a stream for something, just ask me. I'll find one. Snooker starts in, well, the broadcast starts at the top of the hour, I think, but by the time they've done all the yakking, it'll be like 10 past the hour before the final session starts. I bet you I can find you a stream, no problem. You just hang around in the lobby, I'll get you a link. Well, Bill has the problem of trying to get in very good line on this 5 ball, which I think's what he's hoping to do here. And nudge that 11 in. He has to get a perfect line in this, because if he doesn't, yeah, he's bailed out by drawing up the table. That was good thinking, because he didn't want to play this soft and leave the cue ball down there and leave a shot on for Marcellus. So now I'm wrong, because it's Marcellus. Am I out of sync here? Hang on a minute, because I'm looking at the chat, and then the next time I look up, things are going funny here, I think. Or it's just my head because it's this time of night and I'm falling asleep. So Marcellus at the table and he's hooking the 10. Let me just do a quick bailout. Hang on, just to make sure there's not anything funny happening. I think it's just my brain that's going. Now it's Bill at the table. Right. I'm happy now. It's just me not paying attention and looking at the chat. Safe to say Marcellus is the best he's going to have. Here's a kick behind the 8 ball. Or can he see an edge? I don't know why he doesn't go around the corner and try and kick the 10 ball, because if he's just going to chip it, he's only going to open up the 5 and push it to the rail. Why not just go around the angles? He might get lucky. You know, something like that, and call it into the side. What's wrong with that shot? Because if he's just going to try and catch the edge of it, I don't know whether that's the line. That's going behind the 10 ball, unless he does something with the actual cue ball. Yeah, that was never the line. Never in a month of Sundays. Well, there's a shot of somebody that's never played in a 10-footer straight away, because there was no way in this earth he was on that line. Well, it's Slim sending you links. See, he's sneaky. He knows how to get things like that as well. He just keeps it quiet and tells nobody. Well, anyway, Bill on the hill. That's a good rhyme. And it's all over bar the shouting, folks. That lady's already warming up. Again, Marcellus, he's breaking. No luck. And bit of a mess up and down table. Well, now that Bill's committed himself to the stripes, he has that one issue, which is a 14 ball, which does go in a tight squeeze past the 1 and the 8. Now, if he's looked at that, then he's got to be thinking, well, how do I get there? Now, this could be it, because if he plays the 14 and just tries to drop into the gap or runs into the 4, he's still got a bailout ball down table here. In fact, he might have just hooked himself in it as well, has he? Let's have a look. He's okay. Well, now he's trying to open up and free the 8 ball. He's managed to do that. But he's now going to have to play the big shot in the attempted run out here, because he's fairly straight in this 9 ball up the table, so it would just be a huge draw on that 9 ball. What's he leaving himself? Trying to get into the gap. Well, this is not conducive to being able to hold for that last stripe, is it? He's oh well, he's chipped into the 12. He's left to cut, and provided he doesn't scratch off this 12 and he doesn't overhit it, he'll have some sort of shot into the same pocket in the 8 ball. Cue ball's head in this direction, as long as it misses a 2. So this, for the match, which never really ignited anyway by either player. We'll have a look at the bracket, because we need to see who Bill's going to be bumping into. Well, it might not be quite so soon, but Marcellus under pressure now in the old usual last chance saloon. This might be just a bonus for him to get a third rack on the board if he can find his way out. Well, I think he should be getting rid of the 4 ball just now and sort of running up the table. Maybe into those balls if he goes forward, because he's at least going to have the 2 in the side and the 6 up the table anyway. And it opens up the 8 ball a bit more. Now he's gone to a no man's land position. I don't know his way of thinking. He could easily just have went forward and run into these balls here, or run through the gap in one of them, and he would have still been in the ball up the table, and if he had it soft enough he'd have been on the 2. And now the worry is everything's at distance here. And well, again, he can roll this 5 in. If he runs into the 7, fine. If he brushes past it, he's still got the 2. And he's got to get this to the hole. And he has to get it, because if he doesn't, he's probably going to leave Bill in the 8. Well, he hasn't. Well, I think Bill has to bend this a wee bit and call it. Well, he's playing the bank. He's not prepared to risk the little gentle Massey shot and go for it. He's going for the cross bank. Needs to miss the double kiss, of course. Oh, I forgot that ball was blocking the hole, so he was trying to obviously knock it in and just block the pocket with the 8 ball, but he hasn't managed to do it, so Marcellus lives again. Now, I don't know why he's not running that 2 ball in. He had a free go at running the 2 ball. Bill was not going to have a shot in the 8 ball other than the bank had he missed it, but he's now taken it, so if he then cuts the 7 in, he's coming across the 3 ball. See, again, he's running way up table, which opens up the angle a bit more, but it just means the cue ball's got a lot of distance to get to the object ball, and it needs good control to hold a decent line in the 3 that he's coming back down onto the 8. And that will do it. So Marcellus does get his 3rd rack. His 3rd consolation rack, we'll call it. Well, these have broke not too bad. Okay, you've got the 3 ball there and the 14 ball in the bottom rail, but if you're going to go for the solids, you have a chance right now, Bill, to pot the 2 and cut across for that 3 ball. Well, straight away I'm thinking, well, how's he going to drop onto the 3? Is he going to try and run through in the 1? Because that 3 has got my alarm bells ringing. Bill has to find a way to drop across that side to get rid of it. And the angle he's got in the 1, I don't think it's going to really help him a great deal. I don't know whether he can run that 1 in. He'd be far too... He'd be on top of the 3 ball, I think. So the best way to do it is to come back an inch or 2, leave the angle in the 7. Oh dear, Bill's all over the place with that one. Well, I don't know what he was doing, or whether he was trying to nudge the 1 over the pocket or what. And Marcellus I don't think well, that 14 does go, but I don't know whether he can actually see enough of it. Well, why not just do as best you can and push it to the hole? And if it goes in, he might not have a shot unless he comes behind the 8 and can see the 9, but that's just as tough. It would have been probably better if that hadn't had gone in. So it's a tough cut up the rail. The problem ball has gone, and his last ball should be that pink 12 in the left rail there, but he has to then make sure that he just comes back off that 12 by a couple of inches, and he'll be looking good for the 8. What sort of line has he got in this ball? Well, he wants to come back over to where he is right now on a similar line for that 12 ball. He wants to get right onto this rail. Even if he goes inside the 12 and he's touching the rail, that wouldn't be any problem. But he has to get there. He doesn't want to leave a big angle in this, and that will do it. So now there's no problem other than not overdrawing this. Good stunt. And Marcellus has won another one, and it was a free gift by Bill. Bill making the unforced error again, and Marcellus gets another one, and now he's got a ball in the break. Well, the cue ball could have finished better. Well, if he cuts the 6, I don't know whether he can cut the 6 dead weight and still hold for that 4 ball into the side. I think I would be trying to just cut that dead weight and take as much pace off the cue ball. He's letting it run, so maybe he couldn't, or he wasn't confident enough to do it. Good evening to Semi-Pro. So there's the problem. Now if he draws up the table for this, he needs to draw right up to that top rail if he can, or near enough it. That way he's sure he's going to get there, and he's sure he's going to have a shot in the 4. If he drops through for one of these into the side, he's now going to be cutting the 7, and if he does that, he's running into the 3 because he's stuck to the rail, and now he's already out of line and relying on a good connection with this 3 ball. Once again, he's got the slight angle in the 3 to play the draw. He can play the 5. In fact, that'd be even better if he can see it. He can play the 5 and get out into the table for that 4 into the side. That'd be the shot to play. And I'm afraid he's failed big time. Again, if you cannot see that shot, then there's no hope for you, because he could see the 5, he could pot the 5, get the cue ball out into the table, 4 into the side, and well, Marcellus, that is more than likely set your doom there, although Bill still got work to do, but it was really poor that he couldn't see the pot on that ball that was up table there in the right rail to get out onto the 4 into the right side pocket. It was staring him in the face again, and He didn't even so much as give it a second thought. Not great, semi-pro. You haven't missed anything. Marcellus's shot choices have been left a lot to be desired, as you've just witnessed. Bill's been making errors, and as I said earlier, neither of these two players are really going to be frightening anybody. But the thing is, Bill's still got the potential to warm up and focus a bit more when he's playing somebody who's going to give him problems and is going to take their opportunities, whereas Marcellus is just immediately finding ways to get himself into trouble by not seeing shots. Yeah, well, I think Bill's, as I said, I don't think Bill's really giving it all that 100% focus, because he's seen what Marcellus is capable of, and being honest with you, it's not much. And he's been gifted a couple of goes. Fair enough, Marcellus, when he's been gifted the opportunities by Bill's errors, he has taken those racks. Well, it all just hinges on this shot here. If he can get this in, drop on the 9, and just dead weight to the bottom rail if it comes to it, and then just push the 8 into the side. Game over. Nothing elaborate. Well, he's trying to drop behind it, take it in the safer place, which is right. So Bill, in the end, it's comfortable, he's through. But let's have a look at this bracket just to remind any latecomers of what awaits Bill. So Bill through by 8 racks to 4. And if we do a quick refresh, we'll see that should disappear from the schedule. Oh, we've now got another one on. Larry's got his match arranged with Chico. So the matches remaining in the schedule at the moment are Hazard versus Spectre tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, and Larry against Chico, which is Monday night at 9:30. So I won't be there for that, because that's way too late for me. And Semi-Pro and Bedhead next Saturday at 7 o'clock. Now, on looking at the bracket, if I can find, where the hell's Bill? There we go. Bill is through. Now he's waiting on the winner of Jover and Cobra, so you know, things don't get easier. I think I've not really seen Jover. Well, he won his last match against Mr. Strocum by 8 racks to 5. And Mr. Strocum's no mug, so it could be an interesting match between Cobra and Jover. So the winner of that will play Bill, although the favourite will still be Cobra. On this top side, on the one-loss side, as I say, there's a match with Spectadon and Azad tomorrow night, and there's the other one with Larry and Chico. So the winner of both of those matches play each other in that one-loss side. Now over this side, the only thing that is happening is the Semi-Pro Bedhead match. That's already set up. And then if we go further down, we can see that Stubb is through to play Sergaresh. So again, Stubb will be strong favourite in that match. But then of course, he's going to end up either playing Bedhead or Semi-Pro regardless, so he can't back away anywhere. He's going to have to man up and take one of the strong players out. He's had it fairly comfortable so far, I thought Chico would have put up a better performance against him. His tactics were wrong, but anyway, that's the decisions you make. So anyway, that is it, guys. Thank you for joining us. Remember, if you're on YouTube, click on the community tab on my page and you can vote in the little poll that I put up for the live streams. So till we meet again, take care, stay safe, and I'll bid you good night, and I'm off to watch the snooker. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.